Hi guys, it's Ray here from City Fan TV on 28th of March 2020. It's just before 8 o'clock. I've come on a little bit early tonight. I think I'm going to try and come on a little bit earlier in future rather than the 9 o'clocks. Hopefully we'll catch a few guys like Bernard, who is obviously started a new job. He's going to bed at 8:30 in the evening and getting up at 3. So I thought for Bernard and others, we'll move it earlier today. Maybe tomorrow it will be a little bit earlier as well. But we'll find hopefully a regular slot that makes it more accessible to a few more of you guys and gals. Obviously, we want as many people to be involved as possible. So hopefully a little more accessible time-wise. And also give me a chance in the evening before they go to bed. I think that's worth it for them. And I hope they enjoy that extra bit of company with me. It just kind of means we can sit there and watch a movie together, which I think is nice for them, rather than, if you're doing a 9 o'clock till 10 o'clock stream, that's 1 good hour of movie watching gone. It depends, obviously, what you're doing in the day. But I just think it'll open up a little bit more for me as well in the evening, and for you guys as well, for the ones who want to get involved. I think it will make it a little bit easier. So what's on the agenda tonight? Hi, Abdallah Alamami. I'm well. Hope you are too. Hey, you want to get it? Well, I'm going to try get it a little bit earlier tomorrow. Might, a little bit earlier, 7:30 or something. I've got a podcast to do as well tomorrow with Potsy. I think it's Dan Potts, Arsenal fan. So we're going to have a good old chat about things that have been going on recently. Things like, should the league season continue? Should it be stopped? Talk about other, football-related stuff. And he wants to know who I think have been the best City players this season, stuff like that. So I think that's going to be an interesting, I think it'll be very interesting half an hour or an hour I'll spend with Potsy tomorrow. So I think I don't think it's live. I think I'm recording it at 4 o'clock tomorrow. So not sure when that comes out, but obviously, guys, when it comes out, I'll be sure to let you all know about it. Let me just pop this on Twitter. So I know there's been problems on various forms of social media where they can't at the moment get things to work properly. And I know some people haven't managed to get their notification. So hopefully by sending it out there, 1 or 2 more people might get the notification. So I hope you guys are doing well, Abdallah Mami, and you wouldn't get it. I hope, I hope it's a safe time for you and your family. Look, it's going to be ups and downs, and I'm not going to go too much again onto the COVID-19 stuff. But what I will, I'm just saying, one of my mates' father passed away today. Guy I knew from uni. They don't know, the guy would have been in his mid 70s or 80s anyway, because my mate's 1 year younger than me, but he's 50 years old. So his dad would have been in his late 70s, possibly older. I don't know. Just got the message through about half an hour ago, so it's quite sad. But he said to me, it's a shame that he can't go up and visit his mum, because he's down south, and he's a northern lad, so he can't go and visit his mum, who's on her own now, which is real shame and real sad. So guys, it's one of those things. I'll just say this at the outset. This is an opportunity to reflect for us. We've got to reflect on what we are doing with our lives. I'm going to make this sound a bit, too thingy, but we're going to reflect a little bit on and reflect on what's important in our lives. Yeah. And however much we might like footy, it's not the be all and end all. So I'll tell you what we're going to talk about today. Let's get on to give you the agenda, give you the topics. But obviously we're going to talk about what you want to get. It's brought up about Etihad being used by the NHS. We're going to talk about what Karl-Heinz Rummenigge said about a swap deal between Leroy Sane and David Alaba. We'll talk about, and I'm going to, might lay into them, talk about apparently a Premier League want to restart in July after a private agreement with the government. It's not classy. And a little bit of news about UEFA providing a Man City appeal update. There's not really that much in it. And anything else you guys want to talk about? So I'm going to start. You wouldn't get it thrown the first thing out there. What are my thoughts about the NHS using the Etihad Stadium? It's a class act by City. Look, I think it's a class act. I think I'm not going to be cynical here, but a lot of organisations are going to do it. Some will do it for the right reasons, and some will do it for a little bit of PR. And I just simply hope City are doing it for the right reasons. I like to believe they are. You know, Sheikh Mansour has invested a lot into some, let's say, downtrodden areas of East Manchester. Yes, there's always been a book in it for him as well. But I like to think at this juncture, especially Khaldoon Al-Mubarak, he said his second home is Manchester. Yeah, so they do feel, certainly Khaldoon Al-Mubarak, I have no doubt with the area and with the people. They've owned the club since, was it 11 years now, 11 and a half years? It's a long, long time. So you will be building some strong ties. So I think it's a good move. It's an important move. It's a much needed move. And once again, it makes you think. You know, I'm not sure exactly. I didn't read too much into this, into what capacity they're doing it. You know, whether it's just that I mean, I know they've got the Academy Stadium and they've got the areas that the players sleep. So it could be that they use those rooms, dormitories for staff to live in. Don't know. You know, you've heard of other. I think they're going to build a kind of a hospital, a field hospital in Manchester, the old GMEX Centre. They built one already, I think, or it's well in advanced stages at the Excel Centre in London, and they're doing one in Birmingham. I can't remember. Was it NEC? I can't remember which place in Birmingham they're doing that. So, look, it's a good thing. It's a good gesture, and it's good for Manchester, and it's good for the NHS to have this extra facility. I think they're going to let them use hospitality rooms and other stuff like that. Okay, let's move on, because you wouldn't get it. He's driving the agenda tonight. He wants Kimmich over Alaba. Okay, well, apparently, you know, look, we know Sane. It's always been that he's going to go to Bayern Munich. It's been that talk for about a year now. So there was rumours a few days ago. I mean, I did it. I did a video with you guys. I didn't believe it, really. I don't believe anything now that I read, because the papers and the journalists got nothing to say. So, you know, you can see some organisations, their numbers have absolutely dropped. They've tanked. And I've not looked at other YouTube channels, but I suspect a lot of YouTube channels have lost a lot of viewers because people want to see that kind of stuff. I mean, we've lost viewers in some of these streams. We're getting half the number of contributors and viewers as we'd normally get. So it's only natural, you know, in times like these when people have got a lot of other things on their mind. For some people, talking about football is an escape, and some people don't even want to go there. So it's fair enough. So a lot of stories coming out that are just simply made up because no one's can either be bothered to deny them, or you know, or wants to waste their time, or they've got other things on their mind. So anyway, we came up with this thing. We heard that City were after Alaba as a left back. Anyway, Bayern Munich chairman Karl-Heinz Rummenigge, he dismissed reports suggesting his club could offer defender David Alaba to Manchester City as a make-weight in a deal to sign Leroy Sane, labelling the claim as a fairy tale. Okay. I'll tell you what, and I'm just looking at the report in the MEN. There's not much from him. Okay. There's really not much there. It's obviously Sane, his contract runs out next summer. Now, apparently this is what Rummenigge said. He said, I've heard rumours are circulating that we would like to hand David Alaba over to Manchester City in exchange for Leroy Sane. In addition, I say very clearly, this is Grimm's fairy tale and has nothing to do with reality. I would like to say very clearly that this is not an option for Bayern at all. We are not in the bazaar. I mean, I can understand, you know, you've got to get these things said nice and early, because otherwise, sometimes the players could think, well, do they really want me to go? And we had all those stories about Gabby Jesus leaving, or other players, and City very quickly come in and quell those rumours, because you don't want the player to think, hang on, if they're not saying anything, is there something in it? They'll let me go, or they want to get rid of me? Are they pushing me? Are they pushing? Telling people that I'm available without telling me or my agent first. So you've got to come out and say stuff like that, because people can get the wrong end of the stick, and that can, we've heard in the past, that's broken up rock bands, because someone's misunderstood what someone else has said or done, or a third party said or done. So, and that can cause a schism and break up bands. It can make players think, oh, you don't want me, and then they can get in their head and they want to leave, and then nothing will convince them that that was a load of baloney in the first place. So, Bayern Munich chief Karl-Heinz Rummenigge says that's a load of UEFA thing. This is why. I mean, Alexander Sefrin hasn't really added much to anything, because he was apparently speaking to Marca, and now obviously City being banned from the Champions League for 2 years, or from UEFA competitions. I mean, that includes the Europa League as well. But they've been banned for 2 seasons, and obviously City have appealed to CAS, the Court of Arbitration for Sport. That's going to take a while, because they haven't really been able to progress too much. Yes, they can do video interviews, but Switzerland has been hit really badly. Switzerland has been hit really badly with the coronavirus, COVID-19, and obviously all of Europe as well. I mean, Switzerland, it doesn't sound a lot, but there's been 242 deaths in Switzerland. And you might say, well, that's not a massive amount. Okay, I think it's up to 264 now, looking at my numbers. But Switzerland isn't like the UK, a country of, I think at the last count, I think we had 67 million people living in the UK. And Switzerland, just having a quick look, I mean, Switzerland's got 8.5 million people. So proportionately, it's about 1/8 the size of the UK. So, 200 and, what was the number I said, 250 or more, I think 264, would be equivalent to about 2,000 UK deaths. And UK were on just over 1,000. So, they've had proportionately double the number of deaths in the UK. So it's certainly going to affect them a lot more. And obviously, your lawyers and stuff around Europe, if you've got Italian people involved, they've been hammered. Same with Spain, Germany less so, but it's still a big problem there. France, Netherlands, they've been hit very hard. 93 deaths today. That's a lot for a country the size of the Netherlands. Of, I can't remember, was it 12, 15 million people? Belgium, they've had 64 deaths today. Why would any of these lawmakers and people on CAS's panel, wherever they're from, why would they be interested in this stuff? There's bigger fish to fry in their own countries than worry about football. You want to get this, as I can't stand anyone at Bayern's front office. I wouldn't be surprised if Sane ends up going to PSG, Barcelona Madrid. Cheaper option, possibly. We're going to get it here in the States. We have the highest corona kits and we still haven't tested. That's true. It's a shocking, in my opinion, dereliction of duty from some of the leaders around Europe, especially, and in the States. Now, going back to what UEFA apparently said, so obviously we got this potential ban. Sefrin, UEFA president, he's come out and said, told Marca, the presentation of the papers has already been delayed for a month and will be reviewed again as the situation progresses. The issue of Manchester City is another matter. I respect the bodies that judge and make decisions. I have not spoken to them. Well, why should he speak to CAS? He's got nothing to do with CAS. Let them get on with it and make their decisions. Basically, he said they've appealed. That's it. And then asked about when it's going to start. It's impossible to know if it will start again behind closed doors. But I'm not thinking of a Champions League final behind closed doors, nor can we force footballers to make them play as the quarantine ends, which is true. And so that moves on to the last one of my agenda points for tonight. Hi, Colin. Hope you're well. Yeah, well, what can I say, Col? What can I say, Colin? I don't want to say I told you so, but it also is a little disturbing, Colin, that look, I try and keep politics out of this. I will have a go at the government because I think they've done a lousy job. If this was a Labour government, I would do the same. If this was a Liberal government or whoever, I would do the same. So I'm not going to go down the political route. I don't want people to get this wrong. But they've also changed the way, apparently, they count the numbers of deaths in the UK. And this is an issue around not just the UK, it's in other countries too. Because apparently now what was it, yesterday or the day before, they changed the counting to the number of people who died in hospital. So if you're not dying in hospital, apparently, according to the statement, you're not included in the death total. So it could be higher. We've also heard in France that they haven't counted deaths that are outside hospital. In fact, they don't even know, in some cases, if people have died in care homes. It's a real mess. So we're here, people are asking why are German numbers so small? Is it because the health system's great and they've got a lot more ventilators and ICU beds and they've been testing? But there's also the issue, apparently, where Germany have not been recording deaths. If you had an underlying disease, okay, and it was COVID that sadly finished you off, COVID-19, they apparently are recording the underlying disease and not the fact that it was COVID that took you over the precipice. So that, different countries are doing things differently. And we all had not all, but a lot of people had to go to China when they changed the way they were counting cases. And people had to go at them for changing the way they're doing the stats, and it's not comparable. Well, look what we're doing here. We were counting apparently all the deaths. It's only England. I think the other countries count everybody. It's only England. And now we're changing it. So it's a concern. And the trajectory is not good, Colin. The trajectory, as I said, I've been keeping stats. I've been keeping stats for weeks now. And I did something on Twitter today, just looking at some, reviewing the timelines of lockdowns. And I'll briefly say this. I mean, Italy locked down. Okay, they had the first lockdown on the day, they announced it on the day 133 people died. That was just in Lombardy. They'd had a small lockdown in a municipality called Lodi on the 21st of February, I think, because that had a really, really that was badly hit. So they had that lockdown in Lombardy. The next day they had a lockdown of Italy. And 2 days later, the lockdown, it was even tighter, where, originally you can have restaurants and cafes were open, but then they said only essential services remain open. They've tightened it even more. Spain have done the same. They've tightened it even more. The same people can't go to work because the numbers are frightening. On the 8th of March, as I said, the lockdown started 133. Now Italy, it went down today to 889. Yesterday was 969. They've gone over 10,000, and most of them have been in the last 21 days. 21 days, almost 10,000 people have died. Spain started their lockdown a little bit later on the 14th of March when 63 people died, I think, on the 14th. Now they're up to 832. France started on the 16th. I haven't seen the numbers for today for France. France started on the 16th where 21 people had died the day before. Yesterday was 299. The day before was 365. And the UK started a proper lockdown on the 24th when 87 died. Okay, 5 days later we're on the 260. The worry is, that could be 400 or 500 tomorrow or the day after. And they're talking about if we can maintain deaths under 20,000, we'll have done really well. And I think they've been, trying to keep away from politics. I think they've been a bit disingenuous. They've started off with some huge numbers where we're talking of 260,000 if we didn't do anything, basically to frighten people. Then it's dropped to 20,000. Straight away, there's a political point there. Look how good we've done. Look how well we've done. And if it can get down to 5,000 or 6,000, we've done. And now to say, sadly, a lot of the science coming out is politically motivated. And that's my opinion, not just mine. A lot of scientists that I converse with are telling me they feel it's the same. So it's a worry. It's a worry. That in 2 or 3 days, that time we could lose, 500 or 600 people dying. It's more than a worry. It's frightening. It's grim reading. But You know, well, Colin, I hopefully will cope better. No, I don't think the Island Nations has anything to do with it, Colin. Let's be honest. Middle of February, we were flying people going on holiday to Italy and France and Spain and coming back. They're coming back from the red zones, the northern part of Italy, with this disease. So it's not because we're an island nation. I mean, the only thing the island nation does, it stops people just driving over our borders, or like the Schengen area where people just go. And once you're in the Schengen area, you can just go and then no one checks your passport. At least you had to fly to get here. But we weren't. It's not as if we were checking people to see if they had the virus. We just give up on all that, which is I think is. It's for me, what we've done has been really bad. So I don't think the Island Nation's got anything to do with it. What's going to help us, what should be helping us, Colin, is the fact that we started on this trajectory later than everybody else. You know, Italy, as I said, locked down on the 8th. Well, we've been on the 24 hours to the 26th of March. So our trajectory, you could look at that and say, well, that's about weeks later. Okay, so we've got that extra time to have done more. We've seen what was going on in Spain and France. We've had that extra 2.5, 3 weeks over Italy, 1 or 2 weeks over France and Spain to get our house into order much, much quicker. And even now I say, I still believe the information's wrong. We should not be allowing people to go to work unless it's essential. At the moment, I mean, it's a lot of ambiguity and a lot of backtracking. The rules currently are you can go to work if you can't work from home. I think that's absolutely bang out of order. If the chances are of people mixing with others, and if they're not going to maintain this safe distance from one person to the next, it's a problem. Initially, it started at 1 meter. Now it's 2 meters. I'm seeing reports today that saying if someone sneezes, it can go 27 feet. That's a lot of meters. That, you know, you'd have to be across the road. So it's a worry and a risk and everything else. We know Boris is, I've got to say you wouldn't get it. I'm not going to argue with there. So as I said, we've got to hope for the best. And sadly, as I repeat, it's been very much politicized, very, very much politicized, which I think is a disgrace by the government, sadly, by the government, and they're using it to their own advantage. And it's worked. There's no question about that. It's worked in America, and it's worked here with the popularity of Boris Johnson and Donald Trump. So anyway, the last point we're going to talk about, and I'm really surprised to see this. With everything that's going on, they're still talking about when we can continue with football. Absolutely, Colin. That was there's an MP for Tooting. I forgot her name. She's a doctor, and I saw a couple of someone retweeted a couple of her points, and it was about the information from the government. And they said the 7 day it is off. It doesn't sound off, Colin. It is balderdash. It's rubbish. Absolute. It's asking people to die, basically. And I don't care what they turn around and say, oh, we did the best in the situation. You're asking people to die, okay? Now, the CDC in America apparently have said they've found the virus alive 17 days after people left one of the cruise ships, the one that was off California or wherever it was. Apparently, they found it 17 days after. Okay, now it's ludicrous. And I ask this question: if I get symptoms, I've got to self-isolate for 7 days. If one of my family members gets symptoms, then the whole family have to isolate for 14 days. It doesn't sound right. And if we've all self-isolated, then if somebody gets symptoms at the end, then you don't need. No, it's when you look at the government stuff, it's wrong. The WHO say 14 days after your last symptoms. The government are saying 7 days, I think, from the start of your symptoms. It's crap. And basically, what you're asking people to do is go out there with the disease, thinking, see, this is the thing. People think, oh, I've got no symptoms. They've gone. I'm safe. I'm not going to pass it on to my elderly relatives or whoever I get into contact with. When actually, they can be a super spreader. We've seen cases where people have spread it to thousands. In I can't remember which countries I heard where some guy, was it in India or wherever, he'd come back, wherever it was, he'd come back from a holiday in Italy, and Greece. He'd been in Greece, came out somewhere, and he spread, and he obviously took trains and whatever. I think it was in India. They went back to a village, and he ended up infecting thousands of people. Just one person who'd been to Italy ended up, because it was rampant. No one knew he had it. 2 weeks down the line, 3 weeks down, or whatever, thousands of people are infected, and it's a really, really tough situation. The Milan football match, Colin, all that stuff it's bonkers, and sadly we veered off to that, but I will talk about it. When first of all you had Madrid, Atletico Madrid went to Liverpool. They couldn't watch their team. Their team were playing behind. It was point over game, and around the day after or something, the numbers of deaths in Spain were 136 deaths. 133 were in Madrid. How on earth could they allow it? The government allowed it, and it's the Scousers who are getting in the neck. Hi, Aaron, hope you're well. So the government allowed it to happen. Was it 3,000 fans went? They're mingling in the pubs and the bars, in the eateries, at the ground, and everything else, in train stations, on buses, taxis, aeroplanes, airports, all sorts, you name it. 3,000 people, okay? UEFA wanted it to go ahead. Money. That's it. You had the situation where Getafe, Spanish side, Getafe, would not go to Inter Milan to play. And they said to UEFA, you can kick us out of the Europa League. Kick us out. We don't care. We ain't going. We are not going there. We don't care what you do with us. And so they refused to go. The same week, I think you had Italy had their lockdown. They had their lockdown, said nobody can fly in. I think, well, they cut the flights out. You needed a special permission to leave the country, kind of like if you're a foreign national or something. And Roma, I think, was supposed to play Sevilla. So apparently UEFA asked the Italian government for special exemption so that Roma could fly to Sevilla to play the game. Who the hell do they think they are? Who the hell do UEFA think they are to ask for special permission from the government to override these exceptional circumstances and these, draconian measures that are taken, needed to keep people safe? Who the hell do UEFA think they are? And quite rightly, the Italian government said no. UEFA are just interested in money. They don't give a damn. We've seen that. They don't give a damn about fans. They don't give a damn about racism. They don't give a damn about anything. It's all about money to them. And yes, they will be determined to finish the Champions League if they can. Obviously, they want the European Championships next summer. They're determined to get their money because I think Colin Savage said the tournament that gives them the most money, the big spike in their income are the Euros. That's where they get a huge chunk of the money. Now, it's been reported today that Premier League, they want to restart in July after a private agreement with the government. I don't understand. Someone can explain this to me if they want. How on earth it's different for us. It's we're just ordinary blokes and women getting on with our lives as best we can. Bored, a lot of us sat at home. Yes, I think it's reasonable for us to talk football. I don't want my government to be talking football at a time like this. I want them to be focused on saving as many lives as possible. I don't want them talking about football with the football authorities. Most of the clubs and leagues are bothered about is money. That all the sponsors are bothered about is money. The TV companies or the satellite companies, they're bothered about money. That's all they're bothered about. They don't care. Okay, I've been in business for long enough to know that a lot of businesses, they do not care, okay, about what they're doing. Private firms working in healthcare, they're bothered about the bottom line. They're bothered about making money. A byproduct of that is looking after patients. Same in private schools and other areas in care homes, and a lot of them. It's not a vocation. It's not about the individual. It's about making money. And all right, okay, we have to deal with these patients. It's like it's a chore. It's onerous to deal with these patients. So to talk about it is, quite frankly, it's mind-blowing to think that we can start again in July, and the Champions League and everything else, and talk about CAS. Like I've mentioned already, you've got over 10,000 people have died in Italy so far, and most of them in the last less than 3 weeks. 10,000 people, and a lot in Lombardy, the northern part of Italy. I think over half of them have died there. Okay, they've still got, apparently, according to the Italians, over 70,000 active cases, 4,000 people in a serious or critical condition. Spain have got over 4,000. Three of the main countries in Europe, UK, let's not go there because we have no idea about our numbers. We've not bothered. How can these countries, I mean, Italy are talking about, Spain, was it Spain, the Prime Minister came on today, said it'll be another 2 weeks, at least 2 weeks before we hit the peak. Now, if you're going to keep losing more, Spain will be on 10,000 deaths in 2 weeks if they're losing 500 a day. Well over 10,000 deaths. Italy, if they've had to, if Italy could be on 12 to 15,000 in a couple of weeks' time, who's interested in football? If you're an Italian person, especially around Milan, you don't care. You'll be losing 15,000 of your countrymen and women. Spain over 10,000. France, over 300 died today in France. I'm just looking at the numbers. Are they going to be bothered about footsie? Even in the UK, are we? If we keep losing, even if we lose 300 a day for the next 2 weeks, that's over 4,000. We'll have 5,000 or 6,000 dying. Are we really going to be busting a gut to play in July? We need, and you're going to have so many security measures to make sure people are safe, because better believe me that we won't go back to life as normal. We cannot go back to life as normal until we've got the antibody, the test to see if you've had it. Because, even if 20% of the population haven't had it, yeah, let's say we've got 70 million people. That's 14 million people. 14 million people won't have had it. And if it starts up again, yes, you might have your herd immunity with the 8 other. Still, these people can get it, and it can rip through before anybody notices what's going on. You have cases where I've heard people have got symptoms on a Monday, they're dead by Thursday. So something like this, someone could have it, and you don't know, they could have had it on, say, since Saturday, Monday or Tuesday, they start feeling symptoms. In those 3 days, they could have spread it to dozens of people. So it's not going to, life is not going to go back to normal anytime soon. It's just crazy. Colin, no, it's rubbish. Look, recessions don't kill people within 3 or 4 days. Viruses do. And if the government really wanted to, even in a recession, they can look after people. Look, the homeless, they find places for the homeless now. Suddenly, they found rooms for the homeless. Yeah, they found rooms. These are all economic decisions. They found, and obviously the worry is if the homeless, if it runs rampant through the homeless, someone from the homeless could pass it on to someone rich, to anybody else. So now they're caring about people because they have to. They have to. They have to. So it's the recession does not kill people. It's government's decisions, okay, that will end up killing people, because the money is there. We can borrow. We can get by if we want to. We're showing that. They're showing that right now. So I don't agree with that, Colin. New York is in a horrendous state. I've seen, was it Cuomo, the mayor? You got states in America fighting with each other to buy respirators, and basically because the demand is increasing, they're outbidding each other, and the prices have doubled or quadrupled. It's a crazy situation. They're not willing to share. You've got bits and pieces of sharing in Europe where they've taken some French people who were near the German border into Germany for treatment. They've taken some Italians. It's not a lot they've taken, but Germany has spare capacity. Some parts of France do not. Some parts of Spain do not. Some parts of Italy do not have any spare capacity. The Germans do. They've taken some people on. Look, even if they take 50 people on, from each country, and they've managed to, basically help them survive, help them live. That's a bonus, and it's a really good thing. It's really tough. And once again, what else is, we talked a fair bit about football. We end up with that. And finally, I'm going to say, look, you can look behind me. Picture of Trautmann. Thank you, Col, for doing this. That's right, you wouldn't get it. And they're much desperately needed. And we've done this on 28th of March. On this date, I'll read it to you. In 1964, Bert Trautmann makes his little tidbits of trivia for you. Finally, we will try and do that quiz. Obviously, at the moment, it's not easy. I think we're going to leave it for a little while until basically I feel better to do it, and we get a few more people, because I think half the people who put the names down might not be available. Like now, people are in and out. So I think we'll just leave it a little while to make it a little bit more competitive. You don't want to find out you got 12 people and then 6 of them pull out or don't turn up. We'll try and revive it. It's still there. I've got want to do it. We'll do it at some point, guys. Bear with me. Obviously, times are difficult at the moment. I think that's it, guys. That's the show for today. Thanks once again for joining me a little bit early tonight. I'll try and keep moving it around to find a good time. I'll probably go a little bit earlier tomorrow. Yeah, that's it. You wouldn't get it. A 70-year-old boy. They refused him treatment because he didn't have insurance. It's disgraceful. I don't know how they. Honestly, I don't know how they can live with themselves. And when I did this long thread on Twitter, and basically I finished it by saying, when this is over, the world is going to be a different place. Yeah, I'm going to dig up this thing so you just my own thoughts. When this is all over, people need to be held to account. Those that criminally underfunded our NHS, those that continue to endanger frontline staff with inadequate provision of PPE, that's personal protective equipment, those that joked about and underplayed the seriousness of what was about to be unleashed on us, those that said they shook hands with coronavirus patients as if there was nothing dangerous about it, those that planned on herd immunity being the strategical masterpiece, those that have been ignoring scientists because they think they know better, those that don't care if a few old people die, those that dithered when hard decisions needed to be made, those that made political decisions rather than public health decisions, those that cared about their popularity instead of trying to save as many lives as possible. When this is all over, the world will be a different place. We will be different people. Please, let's not make the same mistakes again. That's basically saying we've got to learn from this. Sobering episode. There's been, was it 26,000 people have perished already? I'm sorry, over 30,000. Over 30,000. It was 26 yesterday. So, over 30,000. And we haven't got some really populous countries with poor healthcare systems and impoverished public. They haven't gone, we don't know what's going on in India, Malaysia, Indonesia, Africa as a continent, Bangladesh, and other countries. We just don't know what's going to happen in them. We can see what's happening in Europe. We can see the problems, and we get more information. Yeah, I don't believe that Malaysia's had, for instance, 27 deaths in total. I can't believe that. I can't believe Indonesia has had 102 deaths. I find that hard to believe when you've got somewhere as little as Luxembourg with 18, somewhere as little as Denmark with 65, yeah, Ireland on 36. So it's, and Pakistan with 12, I don't believe that at all. But a lot of these countries, they don't know why people are dying, and you'll have lots of recorded cases, cases that will not be recorded because people just don't know. It's just the way it is. You wouldn't get it. I don't know about America. America's so brilliant. Yeah, I understand that. His approval rating, what was it? 46%. It's crazy, absolutely crazy. But that's the way people are now. It's populist politicians that seem to win the day. Guys, please look after yourselves. I can't say that any more strongly. Hi, Faris. Just about to leave, mate. Sorry, mate. Yeah, I see you wouldn't get it. Look, it's crazy. Just telling a little bit earlier, just to grab a few more people, regulars. Yeah, you wouldn't get it. Look, I mean, it happened with Bernie the last time round, and he was the most credible option, and he didn't get it. Most credible was Bernie, and even now Biden, I don't know how he's come through, and he's going to get the nomination, and Trump's going to win again, and it's just going to carry on. And the world will not, in my humble opinion, be a better place for it. We'll see what happens. Guys, take it easy. Sorry, Faris, we're leaving as you're arriving. But I think tomorrow, hopefully, your notifications are up. If you're not, just get onto Twitter. Follow me on Twitter. Let me know, and I will. It costs no harm for you to go onto Twitter, and I will include you when I tweet that we're going on live. I will do that. I mean, I'll send it out to a few people like Bernard and 3 or 4 others. And if you just join Twitter, get on there, and I will include you. So at least if you're around between 7 and 9, you'll know. Hopefully, when I'm online and live. Guys, take it easy. Look after yourselves. Look after your families. And go on quickly. Oh, go on, Faris. You got your one question. I was just about to press the button to turn it off. Go on, Faris. Come on, Faris. I hope it's the real Faris after all this. Come on, Faris. Get your question in, mate. I want a warm cup of coffee because this is cold now. Come on, Faris. I'm going to have to go. Why do you think Pep isn't commenting on the situation recently? What situation, Faris? Look, it's not Pep's place to comment. What does he know about the coronavirus, COVID-19? What does he know about really when the Premier League? I don't think he needs to comment. I don't think he wants to comment. Maybe he's not been asked. Maybe he's in hiding. He's in Spain in hiding. And there's too much going on, Faris. Look, in Spain, okay, if Pep's there in Spain, Spain have lost nearly 6,000 people. 6,000 people have died in Spain, okay? 6,000. And most of those 6,000 have died. Almost all of them have died in the last 2 weeks. 832 people died today. In the last 24 hours. 769 the day before. 655, 738, 514, 462, 400. How can you comment? How can you comment when that's going on? Klopp's slightly different. Germany's in a better situation. How can you comment? It's not possible, especially if you're over there. It's just not. It's not going to happen, and it's wrong. And nobody should be asking them to comment about football. That's my opinion. They should just leave the managers out of this. He detonated that 1 million. It's a serious situation. All right, Faris, guys. Everybody else, look after yourselves. Catch you tomorrow. Please take care. See you around Blues.